Like, okay, it's the same thing as kind of like Jean Grey dying. Like, Jean Grey has only died and come back twice, but the fact that she came back in the first place, died, and then came back again is like, come on, guys. Come on. I don't know. Like, I'm sure I'm sure there are great stories surrounding Boba Fett, you know. I'm sure, like, some writers really took a lot of good shit with Boba Fett, despite what a fucking pathetic end he has in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, what is so sacred about his end?
It's not, well, I mean, what's sacred about anything in the movies, right? You know, like, what's sacred about anything? What if Anakin lived throughout
no, what's sacred about it is that it's good, but his death is doofy, like, falls into a hole, and that's it for him.
His death is doofy, but
everything
that's
that we know
what
about
happened.
everything that we know about Boba Fett up to that point, and he's wearing, like, fucking full body armor. He looks like he could survive in a vacuum.
Got some
and canonically can, briefly. Why wouldn't he be able to escape the Sarlacc?
Because the Sarlacc is supposed to be inescapable.
Says who?
Says Jabba the Hutt, unless that, like...
Yeah, when he throws unarmed prisoners in plainclothes into it.
And a Jedi! Like, he assumes Luke's not going to be able to get out, even though he can fucking...
And he's wrong about that!
Leap tall buildings
Luke
in a single bound.
His shit.
But he doesn't ever fall in the first place, is the thing. Like, he assumes that, oh yeah, even a Jedi couldn't get out of the Sarlacc. What the fuck is he gonna do?
A Jedi without a lightsaber, without anything, because I've already searched him and disarmed him.
Do lightsabers prevent you from jumping? Like, are they what allow you to jump? I don't think so. He just saw Luke do crazy... He saw him take down a Rancor!
What if that falls in with armor, a basically hazmat suit, and a fucking jetpack? What is so difficult to believe about him being able to get out?
Because we're supposed to... Because first of all, it's shitty to be like, this thing is the inescapable pit that is gonna just digest you for 1,000 years, and then just completely walk that back to be like, nah, actually, you can just get out if you have some technology that anyone can get. And also... Like,
you can't. Mandalorian armor is pointedly not technology that anyone can get.
But you can get a jetpack, right? Like,
not a good one.
Do you need a great jetpack to escape the Sarlacc? We don't know, because he just gets out.
If you jump into the Sarlacc with a shit ton of grenades, yes, you can probably get out, but you'll probably blow yourself up as well, which is what Boba Fett does, and he survives through. And this should be the part you like: determination!
But, like...
He just abjectly refuses to die.
But the thing is, what's sacred about it is that, like, it's also what is upsetting about the prequels in a lot of ways is, like, this is what happened, and that's what happened, and, like, I don't know, there's a difference between trying to salvage something that happened that's kind of weird. I think that's what the second writer who does. Oh, boy, there are minds there, huh? And there's also, like, just deciding, no, this didn't happen, I guess. Like... As if it doesn't... It makes it feel like the whole thing didn't really matter at all. Ah, jeez. And Boba Fett wasn't even anyone before then. Like, as far as the movies... Oh, boy. Ah, dicks. Bread?
It's like your observation not high enough to find these mines?
Yeah, I don't think I have good awareness.
Perception or awareness?
Whatever, I got heals. Got... Was that item? I don't know what item that was.
I don't know, man. I've read a lot of these stories, and, like, I liked them. I think they're good stories.
Look, a story being based on a bad concept is not precluded from being
good.
But
if you just read the Wikipedia article, and then also conflate that article in your memory to Boba Fett falling into the Sarlacc countless times, yeah, I can imagine why you would think that it's bullshit, but that's also not an accurate representation of what happened.
Listen, let me try to explain this in a Spider-Man kind of way. The Clone Saga of Spider-Man is now the second, maybe third worst thing to happen to Spider-Man.
Oh, poor
Spider-Man's had a really shitty publication history because he's so fucking popular that editorial just can't stop themselves from meddling. But the Clone Saga at the time was like the worst thing to happen to Spider-Man. It was so dumb. They tried to be like, oh, Peter Parker isn't the real Spider-Man. The Spider-Man that you think you like isn't actually him. The real Spider-Man is this dude Ben Reilly. Peter Parker's a clone. None of it mattered. And then, like, it gets dumber from there, where it's like, oh, and this dude's making more clones, and there's a damaged clone named Kane, and he's, like, strong but deranged, and then there's Spider-Side, who's a shapeshifter for some reason, but also still a clone of Peter Parker, I guess. And it just gets, it's the stupidest thing to the point where, like, for years, for like a decade, Marvel refused to even, like, look at it, except in a joking way where Spider-Man would be like, I hate fucking clones, dude. But then, someone came along, a few writers came along, particularly Craig Kyle, who I really love. Or no, it's Chris Yost. Craig Kyle's the other guy who made X-23. Chris Yost came along and wrote this series about the Scarlet Spider, the second Scarlet Spider, who is Kane, who's the Damage clone, and is one of my favorite fucking books of all time. And, like, Kane is, you know, he's not Peter Parker. He doesn't have the, like, goodness of Peter where, you know, Uncle Ben died in front of him and everything. He doesn't have any of that. He's just a piece of shit, but, like, he's also kind of struggling with the fact that, like, yeah, with great power there is a bit of great responsibility, even if you didn't have someone kill himself or die because of your actions. But that doesn't stop the fact that the Clone Saga is the dumbest fucking thing. Like, it's all super stupid still.
Okay, but by that same token, the Clone Saga being stupid doesn't make Spider-Man or comics stupid. I mean, it makes the Clone Saga stupid.
It does, but I think that reflects poorly on Spider-Man. Like, if I had to say, like, dude, Spider-Man has a flawless publication history, I fucking can't, because there's A, the Clone Saga, B, One More Day, and C, Superior Spider-Man, all three of which are hate crimes.
But nothing has, like, a flawless publication history.
Of course not.
Nothing's perfect, but that doesn't make the rest of it bad.
I don't know. I think, like, to call the because what you said was that, you said, like, if people want to look up Legends to get, quote, good storytelling, I'm like, I don't know if I can codify the Legends as, like, as a whole good storytelling. There's amazing stuff in there. I include, like,
no, what I said is apparently we're picking and choosing from Legends because we're allergic to good storytelling. That's what I said last night, is that we're picking out elements from the expanded universe and then misusing them in ways that make them less good.
And I don't agree with that premise necessarily. I don't think that picking and choosing makes them less good. To make another Spider-Man analogy, when Ultimate Spider-Man was first published, what was good about it was that it was tossing out the other shit while picking and choosing the good stuff and, like, repurposing it. That's what made Ultimate Spider-Man really compelling, but then it got caught up in the same bullshit.
No, we're talking past each other, Juan. You're not listening to what I'm saying. My problem with the specific example... We're just talking about a conversation we didn't have on microphone. I'm sorry. And I've also gotten criticism recently from some of our viewers that they don't enjoy this part of our channel. But I'm fucking leaning into it. We're doing this.
We're this is the show now.
I was complaining about Thrawn being in Rebels.
Okay, that I accept.
Picking and choosing the best villain Star Wars has ever had.
Okay.
Ever.
Right.
Thrawn in the expanded universe in his original appearances is a better villain than Darth Vader, than the Emperor, than Tarkin.
Right,
he's the greatest Star Wars villain of all time.
Yeah.
And having him be a villain of the season and fucking the stepchild that is Star Wars Rebels...
Oh, Rebels fucking...
That's
I can't defend
an utter misuse of him. Even if it's all great, and I hope that it is, I'll watch it eventually. I've heard good things about Rebels. It's not live action. It's not the main stage. It's a misuse of Thrawn. You are picking and choosing from Star Wars Legends for, hey, this has a lot of Google hits on it. I guess people really like Thrawn. Let's plug him in somewhere where it doesn't matter and ignore all of the most important parts of him. That's what I'm frustrated by, is going to the good parts of Star Wars Legends.
It ignores the good parts?
No, you're right that I do need to give it a chance, but my point is, basically anything short of Thrawn being in the live-action movies is a misuse of Thrawn.
Okay.
Part of the point of his character is he was supposed to be an ace in the hole that the Emperor was holding in his back pocket, and then the Emperor got surprised by Luke and the Rebels' victory at Endor, so Thrawn never got called back, and that's why Thrawn doesn't come back until after Return of the Jedi. So using him up before A New Hope, unless they're setting up for future expanded universe, for future Star Wars main numbering movies for Thrawn to come back as the live-action character, which, like, my fingers are still crossed that's the case, but all of the evidence on the table indicates that that is not what is happening. He's just getting used up in Rebels because they wanted an extra villain that would bring in their viewership and get people like me, who were previously not watching Rebels, to come and watch it, which is a cheap marketing tactic that is 100% working.
I think you're overestimating the amount of people who, like, are that invested in the expanded universe, because, like, their goal isn't to get people who, like you, who are like, oh, fucking Thrawn. Their goal is to get new viewers who don't give a shit about Star Wars in general. Like, that's the big chunk of
No, they
new
want
viewers.
They want both.
Well, they do want both, but
But a lot of us
larger...
gave up on that shit because of the Clone Wars
that's
CGI
fucking
show,
suck.
and they're trying to get us back.
I don't
And we are
know
a pretty
about
big
that.
demographic. Book sales did pretty fucking well in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.